Hey everyone, want to join me to embroider on a sweater? I found a fun design for us to stretch our abilities. Hi everyone, I am Cristin with Cristin Creates, and today we're going to embroider on a sweater. So look at this sweater I got. It's so sad. I have like no clothes that are not embroidered, and so we need to embroider this. I found this on Amazon. I will add a link here to my Amazon storefront. So at that Amazon storefront, there are links for all the sweaters that I recommend. And you know, it can be such a time dump to order online, to shop online, and just look through all these things and will this work? Will this work? So whenever I find something that works well for embroidery, I try to share with you. So this one I found just recently. I bought it last week specifically for this tutorial, and today it's on sale, $10 off. So bummer for me, but good for you. So Amazon Prime Days is going on right now, and you can get it in my Amazon storefront, and it's $10 off right now. So it is navy blue because a lot of us are going to work on the Enchanted Winter quilt soon, and so I was trying to go with colors within that quilt theme that we're doing. So that you can see, this is navy blue. It is a hoodie. It's got a hood on the back of it. It's got this waffle weave. I don't know if you can see it. It's got a waffle weave to it, so I just thought it was pretty unique and fun, and it's not on the top part, just on this lower part. And so I also try to tell you when I find things that fit well, because some things on Amazon can be really weird shaped. So this one, I like them to not be super long, and I have a short torso, so if they're super long, they don't really work for me. I have big hips, and so this one works really well. I think it's pretty cute. It's on Amazon, and this is the one I'm going to use for our design today. So for us to embroider on today. So I did find a fun design. It is definitely going to stretch us and show us how to do different things on Embrilliance Essentials. That's the software that I use, and I'm going to teach you how to do it step by step. So that will be fun. So let's start just by talking about the products that we're going to need for today to embroider our shirt. All right, so it's a little different when you're working on a quilt versus working on clothing. Okay, so the first thing is I use tear away stabilizer. I know some people have learned the old adage of if you wear it, don't tear it. I'm telling you, this works. And you can see in our Cristin Creates group on Facebook, everybody talks about the success that they've had using my method. So I highly recommend tear away stabilizer. I use one that is from Simple brand. I think it was bra thread. I don't recall exactly, but in my link that I shared earlier, you can see all of the products that I use. Okay, so simple tear away, medium weight tear away for in your hoop. So you will need a hoop. I'm going to use my 8x8. You can use whatever works for you, but I'm going to use my 8x8. Your tearaway stabilizer will go in your hoop, and then we will float the sweater on top. All right. So before you embroider on a sweater, you want to make sure to stabilize it. All right. No matter how thin or thick it is, you want it stabilized. And this is the stabilizer I use. It's new bra thread, fusible iron-on mesh stabilizer, no-show mesh stabilizer. So you've heard of SF101. That is a fusible stabilizer as well, but I'm telling you now, don't use it in your shirts. It is too opaque, and it's too thick, and you can see it in your shirt. You can see like the outlines. This is nice and thin. Here, let me show you one that's open. All right, it's nice and thin. It's not too opaque. It's a really good one, and the fusible, it works really well. So this is the one that I recommend. Like I said, it's in my Amazon storefront. I'll add a link again here. All right, you click on that link, and then it's in like the essential items, I believe. It might also be in the sweaters. There's a sweaters tab and essential items tabs. There's a few things. So make sure to get this no-show fusible, make sure it's fusible, stabilizer. All right. Cutaway stabilizer. It's called Fusible Iron-On No-Show Mesh Stabilizer. And I get the big one. It's 12 by 25 yards. Get whatever it's going to work for your hoop. There's also a larger one, like if you're using a 9x9 hoop or larger, there's that too. So if you're doing an applique, and the design that we're going to do today is not an applique, but if you're going to applique anything on clothing, you want to get what is it? Heat and bond. That's it. Heat and bond. All right. You want that for your appliques on clothing. All right. That's super important. And I have several short videos that I've done appliques and shown you the exact step-by-step process for that. All right. So heat and bond light, that is what we'll use if we're going to applique. Today's design, we are not going to applique. All right, the other thing that you're going to want good pins, all right, good pins, because we're going to pin it so floating onto our hoop. And then the other thing, super important, is you want blue tape, all right? This blue tape works really, really well for holding your shirt extra parts. So think about like the arms and the length of the sweater and all the things that are going to hang over the hoop. You want those all out of the way so that you don't wreck your shirt and have it sew on the parts that you don't want it to sew on. So you want this blue tape. The dispenser, I believe, is in my cart or in my Amazon storefront, but there's different blue tape. So I've mentioned this on other videos as well. You want the 3M brand, Scotch brand, and it is the 2090, because some of them are too, they don't hold as well onto the hoop, and this one is perfect. Absolutely, this one, 2090, all right? And I have that in my Amazon storefront as well. You can get it at hardware stores and probably even some grocery stores, but you want that one because there's other ones that don't hold well, all right? And then I like to, at the end of my project, I like to bling my shirts. You've seen on many of my shirts, I bling them. So hot fix rhinestones, I believe some of them are in my Amazon storefront as well. I like the SS16 size. That is, it's a little bit larger one, but not super large and not super tiny. I have all different sizes, and it's fun when you use all different sizes because it gives a different dimension, but the 16 is my personal favorite. All right, I think that's about all that we're going to need. You will, of course, need your sweater. Like I said, get it from my Amazon storefront. It helps the channel when you do that. And then also an ironing board and an iron. All right, so we are going to do that. I'm going to walk you through this process step by step. Like I mentioned, I found a design. I don't digitize anything. I've had people ask me, how did you make that design? I don't make designs. I don't digitize, but I buy designs and then I change them up to how I want to. And that's the big thing that we're going to do today. This is going to be a big stretch for those of us that are using Embrilliance Essentials. I will walk you through step by step how to make the changes that I'm going to show you, and just to personalize, make things fun for you, what works for you. So we're going to change up a design that is specific to Enchanted Winter. You can do whatever design you want. You can do a design you already have, buy a different design, but this one is just, it's going to give us a good stretch. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, everyone, I'm at my computer now, and I'm going to show you the design that I chose and all of the changes that we're going to make to it. There's quite a few. So it's so weird to see me in a shirt that is not embroidered. This is just weird, but I'm going to change that up really soon and make it fun. And one thing I want to mention is I personally do not wash my sweaters before I embroider on them. I used to, and either way works perfectly fine. If it's going to shrink a lot, then you probably would want to before doing this stitching. I've done it both ways and it seems to work fine. So just in case that question comes up, I wanted to mention that. All right, so we're going to start by going to Etsy. So Etsy, you can find a lot of designs. There's a lot of places that have really fun designs, but I found this one on Etsy. So just open up a browser and go to Etsy. And then what I did is I typed in Winter Wonderland embroidery design in the search bar. And then a bunch of different designs came up, and I saved several of them that I thought were cute and then decided on which one that I wanted. So I ended up going with this one. All right, it's a very simple design. It's got enough sizes. I'm hoping it's going to stitch great. We'll test it out for sure. But I just started envisioning the things that I could do with this design. And I want something that's going to say Enchanted Winter. That's the quilt design that many of us are working on that will be starting very soon. And so I just thought that this would be really fun and a good way to be able to change it up. So I found it on Etsy. The shop is Sumiya Stitched Arts. I will add a link in the video description. In the video notes, there's always lots of information I've shown on other videos how to find that. It's very easy to just click on that link. And while we're here, I'm going to show you my Amazon storefront. This is my Cristin Creates Amazon storefront. And you can see there's a tab here for the must-have items, best supplies for embroidering on a shirt. That's got the stabilizer in there. And then look at all these sweaters. So whenever I find a sweater that I like that has embroidered well, that fits well, because like I said, it's such a time dump to shop online. So when I find something that I like, I add it into here, and you can see Christmas sweaters, winter sweaters, summer sweaters, shirts, whatever is going to work for you that you're going to need to embroider on. And I've bought all of these. They're all ones that I have bought and embroidered on that I now recommend. All right, so let's get back to this design. So like I said, this is the design I chose. You just add it to your cart, purchase it, and then download it from there. So after you purchase it, I'm sure you get an email. I always just go to my account right here, and I could click on purchases, and then there, it shows the items that I've purchased, and I can download from there, and it makes it really easy. All right, so download your files. For me, the files go to my download folder. So I'm going to open that up. I've already played around with it a little bit, but just to help walk you through this. So there's my Winter Wonderland. When you click on that, you're going to want to unzip it. All right, so extract all is what I did. I clicked on it and then click on extract all. It makes another folder with the same name, and now it's got the extracted files. All right, so it will have all of the designs. I went to the large size. You can use whatever size you want. We thought about moving to Texas at one point, and it didn't work out, but I'm telling you, that go big or go home that Texas talks about, I would fit in well for that. So I like to make my designs big. So I'm using the largest design, which I think it was only like 6 by 6, and I'm going to enlarge it even further from that if you hover on the design. So I have, what is that program from Embrilliance? So I use Embrilliance Essentials, and that's the program that I'm going to show you, but they also have Thumbnailer, and Thumbnailer is super helpful. It shows your design. So you can see all of these other formats that I don't use. They're here, but it's not highlighted, whereas I can see the design on the PEZ file. All right, so that is one nice thing about what is it? That Thumbnailer, that Thumbnailer program. It makes it really easy to see your designs. You can see a picture of it and so forth. I've just got it on a list view now, but you could even make it into where you can see the whole picture. All right, so the big thing that we're going to do, like I said, I'm going to use Embrilliance Essentials. So I'm going to click on Embrilliance Essentials. It's on sale right now, and there's a 10% off coupon code. So if you have not jumped into Embrilliance Essentials yet, I highly recommend it. It's so user-friendly. I really enjoy it. All right, so this is Embrilliance Essentials. I'm going to make it a little smaller so I can see, because my big head is covering part of it. So I'm just going to make it like this. So I'm just making it the size that will work for me. So right here at the bottom, you can see what hoop size you're on. I actually already changed that. If you're not on the hoop size that you want, you would come up to this preferences folder, click on that, and choose the hoop size that you want. And one thing is, when you first download Embrilliance, it's all in metrics. And I don't do metrics. So I edited mine where it says like 9 by 9 it says 240 by 240. I clicked edit and I added 9 by 9 at the beginning. So I added this to my hoop sizes so I can see at a glance what I want to use. It also had metrics down here at the bottom, and I'm like, I don't do metrics. So you can easily change that. I told you how to change that edit button on your hoops, but also in this view button, if you go here, this metric, just unclick that and boom, all the metrics are gone. Yay. One other thing I want to mention on here. So if you go to this preferences folder, that's where your hoops are, and there's different things that you can do. And one thing that I want to point out this jumps overlays. I don't recall if it comes with it clicked on, but it can cause some weird things. So this jumps overlays, when I first started with embellishments, I thought it was really cool because if you're doing like a big applique, it's not going to do all the stitches that are underneath an applique. It's not going to do any duplicate stitches. So it seems like a really cool thing, but it kind of throws some things off. So I've turned it off, and like when I add a quilting file and then my embroidery file on top of that, it can do weird things to that if that remove overlaps is on there. So I unclick that. Don't have that option. Like I said, it's kind of a cool thing, but it does cause some weird things to happen too. So anyway, there's some things that you can do. You can see my background is pink. I changed that. I think it was in display settings. Right here, background color. So there's a lot of things that you can do on embellishments to change it up to have it whatever works for you. All right, so now that we're here, and I'm on my 8x8 hoop, and like I said, you would change that here in this preferences folder, choose the hoop size that you want. All right, and then I've got my folder right here that has my download of our design. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to click on that design. I'm in the large Winter Wonderland folder designs, and I'm just going to drag it over. All right, there's our design. Now you can see that this design, it's very simple, but we're going to change it up. I'm going to have it say Enchanted Winter, all right, which you can see right there. It's going to make some changes. So if I click on this design, it's only got three, what do you call it, like thread changes. So this first one is all of that gray part together, and so that's why it would make it difficult to change the wording, but I'm going to show you how. All right, and then it's got a snowflake and some little dots, and then more snowflakes and more dots. So I'm going to change this up a lot, and like I said, you could stitch this and be just fine. Great. It's a great design, no problem. But if you want to learn how to do some different things with Embellishment Essentials and you want to learn how to personalize your designs, then I'm going to walk you through that step by step. All right, so let's see. The first thing is right here, this little needle with a thread through it. That's your stitch simulator. And if you just hold over, what is it? What's the word? Scroll over it. I don't know. If you hold over it, you can see the wording comes up and it tells you what each of these things are. But the stitch simulator is what we're going to start with. All right, so when I click on that, you can see it brings up this little design down here where I'm going to just grab this and it shows you what's going to stitch, when it's going to stitch, all of those things. Well, I'm going to use this to change up my design quite a bit. You saw all I did was click on this little button here and I moved it over. All right, so this first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to separate all of these parts. At first, when I was testing this, I just separated parts, but it's really easier if you separate all of them so you can move them all around to how you want. So that's my recommendation. And like I said, you can go the easy route and just have this, or you can stretch and show in the Cristin Creates group on Facebook, show us what you've done and how all the things that you've learned using Embellishment Essentials. So I'm going to start by seeing what's going to stitch first. So if I bring this over, and like I said, I'm just moving this little button up here and it's showing the progress of the stitches. So it does that snowflake first, and then it's going to start into winter. So I'm going to bring it all the way to the end of that snowflake. I'm going to bring it close to it, and then I'm going to use these little arrow keys that will go stitch by stitch. And my goal here is to get to the end of the snowflake and then stop. So you can see I'm at the end of the snowflake and then part of this W. So I'm going to back up and see it goes stitch by stitch. And I want it to where it's right at the end of that snowflake. So you just move these arrows around until you're there, all right? And you want it right at the end. If you were to do it at further over, then you're creating a jump stitch. So we're going to just have it be over to the end of the snowflake, and I'm going to hit this little stop button. And then it brings up my thread colors, and I'm just going to change it. The colors do not matter. In fact, you kind of want them to be bold enough colors that you can see what is what. All right, so just pick a color. It doesn't matter. You know I'm going to pick pink, right? Like I said, it doesn't matter, and it doesn't have anything to do with what we're going to stitch. It's just changing it here so that we can have parts. So I'm going to say, okay, now all of that part that was gray has now changed to the pink except for that first snowflake. So I'm going to bring this button over again into the pink part, and I'm going to go all the way through the first word winter until the end of winter. So I'm going to finish it there, and then I'm just going to advance ahead until I'm at the part of the end of winter. And the key is going to be when it jumps. So you can see I'm at the end of winter. I'm pretty close. And then it will jump. See that little tiny jump? That's where it's a little too far. So I want to make sure to go back one to the end of the word winter. And I'm going to hit stop. And then again, I've got colors. You can choose whatever. It really doesn't matter. You want them to be a little different than what you were using so that you're not sure, you're not confused on where you are. So I'm just choosing brown, doesn't matter, whatever works, and see everything after that turn to brown. So now I know that I've got my snowflake, I've got my winter word, and so I'm going to advance to this brown part, and we're on to the next snowflake. So I'm going to get to the end of that before it starts that arch, and I'm going to back up to the end of the snowflake. There we are, and hit stop, and then choose a color. I'm gonna come down here to a different set of colors. Let's see, I'll choose this yellow. It's gold. Say okay. And again, it doesn't matter what thread brand you're in, what thread colors, none of that matters. We're just creating stops at this point. All right, so there's our gray snowflake, our pink winter, our brown snowflake, and then all of this yellow part. And I want that all separated. So I'm going to run through. It's doing the top of that little oval arch, whatever. And I'm going to back it up so that because it's starting on the next word, and I want to make sure to get it to the end. And see this little crosshair? That's what you're watching. All right, so when I forward, then it jumps down here, and that's where we want it to the end of this part. So I'm going to hit back and hit stop, and I'm going to choose another color. Go for green now. All right, and there's the rest of our green. So again, we're going to run through. I think it's going to do the Wonderland word next. So I'm going to go all the way through the Wonderland word, get to the end of that before it jumps. There it jumped. All right, and then back up little bits, one stitch at a time to get to the end of the Wonderland word. Then once you're there, hit stop, choose a new color. Doesn't matter what color, as long as it's different than your other colors. All right, so that's good. So now you can see, now we just have the bottom of the oval, and we also have these two dots. And originally I thought, oh, I don't need to change out those dots, and I kept it, but it's easier if you do change them all, because then you can move everything around. So again, bring this drag this over here, get to this green part, and I'm going to get just that first dot first. Back it up to the end of that dot right there, hit stop, and then I'm going to change it to this cream brown. All right, and then again, move it over, get to this yellow part, and I'm going to finish up that bottom of the oval, and before it gets to that next dot right there, hit stop, and then choose your color. I'm going to do teal. Okay, so now we can see that we're going to jump into the blue, which looks like it's either the snowflake or the dots. So I'm going to bring this over. It's that snowflake. So I'm going to go all the way through this snowflake. And I want to show you something else interesting here. So let's see. I'm at the end of the snowflake. Let's make sure. Okay, so once it jumps, that's when we know that we've gone too far and we want to hit stop, choose a new color, say okay. All right, and then see all these dots changed to that darker blue. Now, one thing maybe we'll get all the way through first. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just dragging that button all the way over to the next dot, and before it jumps to the next one, I'm going to hit stop again. Stop. All right, and then choose another color that's different from the others. And now we've got the 3 dots, so I'm going to bring it over all the way. All right, before it starts that next dot. And you want to always check and make sure that you're really at the end. All right, stop right before where it jumps. I'm going to choose lavender. All right, and then we have these 2 dots, so I'm going to bring it over. And before it starts that next one. All right, stop. And I'm going to choose a different purple. All right, and then we're on the white, so you can't see it very well. All of this part is this white, which is these snowflakes and these dots. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring it over to that white. And the first one is that snowflake in the bottom right hand corner. So I'm going to bring that over. Oh, sorry, I was thinking I would need to end at the purple, but I don't. I need to end at the snowflake. So I'm going to keep going through this snowflake. Okay, and before it jumps to the dot. All right, hit stop. And then make sure it's a color we haven't used before, hopefully. That one's a little close to the other, but hopefully we're okay. We'll check it. All right, so then I'm going to bring this over and do the next one. I think we're going to do the dots now. We've got the snowflake, the first dot, and then we want to do the second dot. Let's see, it's doing the first dot, so we want to stop after that first dot. It jumped, so go back to stop. All right, and I'm going to jump to, what haven't we used? How about this bright orange? Okay. All right, and it looks like there's 3 dots in this bright orange, so I'm going to bring it over to the orange. There's the first, oh, then it goes into this snowflake. So after that, this dot here is when we're going to stop. Make sure, there we go. Okay, hit stop when it's at the end of that dot, and then choose a color. And then it will do the snowflake and these 2 dots. So I'm going to bring it over and end at the snowflake. Just getting to the end of the snowflake before it jumps. All right, and there's the jump. You can see the crosshair there. So I'm going to back it up and hit stop and choose another color. I'll choose this orangish brown. All right, and then we just need to separate these 2. There's a couple more little things to do, but well, a few more. Let's see. I'm going to get to this orange part. We've got the first one, so I want it to stop before the second dot. There it jumps, so I go back one, hit stop. All right, and then one thing is I wouldn't recommend using the white or the light gray or any of that. That is going to be harder to see. All right, what haven't we used? We've got more purples. Where are, oh, pinks, come on, we need pink, of course. Okay, so there's our dot, and what do we have after that? I think we have this snowflake still. Let's see, after the pink. Oh, that's the end. All right, so we already did that snowflake. All right, so now all of the items are separated. So I want to show you. So here you can see over in this objects tab, the window over here, the objects window, we can see each of the parts and we can make sure that they're all separated the way that we wanted them to be. So I'm just checking all these. Good, good, good. Scroll down. Everything's separated, and so that we can move them all around. Now on this snowflake here, it's white. I'm going to change it because it's hard to see. So I'm going to go ahead and change this. So in this properties window, right below the objects window, I'm going to click on the color tab. So there's the stitches tab or the color tab. Click on the color right here, right? It's showing the Brother Embroidery. I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to choose a different color so that it will stand out more. All right, I'm going to do this light pink. Okay, So I just want that so that I can see it a little better. That was the only purpose. Now notice there are 2 jump stitches. There's one here and one here, and I don't think there's really a purpose to it. So you can fix that. You don't have to. You can stitch it out and fix it while it's after it's done stitching. Or you can go ahead and change it up now. So it's really easy to do. So I'm on it's a blue, so I'm going to bring this stitch simulator over to where that snowflake is, and it's right at the very beginning. So finish up, let's see here, finish up that. Yeah, so see, it's going to start stitching our thing right there. It's just the jump stitch. So just get to the end of that jump stitch right there and hit stop, and then choose a different color, say okay, and then you can see now it's 2 different parts. And the reason that we're going to do that, watch this, I can click on that and hit delete on my keyboard, and that jump stitch is gone. Easy peasy. There's another one here, so let's do that again. It is the pink, so I'm going to bring that stitch simulator over to this pink area. There it is right there. It's right at the beginning, so right after this purple dot. So I'm just going to advance to past right there. So it does that first jump stitch. I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to choose a different color now. I'll choose this one, say okay, and you can see it just makes it so that they're separate colors, so that then it's its own little design, and I can hit delete on my keyboard so that that jump stitch is gone. All right, so that was super easy. It takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it to be able to personalize. So now all of these are separate parts. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that means that when we go to stitch, it's going to stop after every one of those little dots, so that you have the opportunity to change your thread color, or you can join them later, either one. But right now we're going to work on the wording. All right, so we've got the winter wording and we have Wonderland, and you can't just click on this and change the wording. You have to bring in your own font and your own wording. So I'm going to click on that wording, and you can't do it from here, which is funny because it's all one design. So if I click outside so that nothing is selected, and then look through the design in the objects window, I can find my winter word, or Wonderland. I want the Wonderland word. So right here, it's number 5. All right, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click delete on my keyboard. All right, I don't want that word. I want my own word and my own personalization. All right, so now I'm going to take the winter word. I forget that I can't click on it there. I'm going to click on number 2, which is the winter word, and I'm going to use the down key on my keyboard, and I'm going to bring this down to where I want it. All right, and I don't know right now exactly where I want it. I'm just going to move it for now. And then you can see I need to move some of the dots. I need to move all of the things. And that's why it's fun to be able to personalize this, because we get to do this however we want to. All right, so here's that snowflake. I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to bring it over here. So one thing I am going to do is this lower oval is a little hard to see, this one, so I'm going to make it a different color. So I clicked on number 6. I'm clicking on the properties tab, properties window, and then the color is right here, and when I click on that, it brings up a different set of colors so that I can choose something else. So choose a different color if you're having trouble seeing it. I want to be able to see it really well. All right, so that first part is done. I want to move these dots around, and I'm going to move them around again later, but for now I don't want them overlapping my word. So I'm just going to find which dot it is. I think it's that one. Yep. So just click on that. It's number 118, and I'm just going to basically move it out of the way for now. All right, and then that other one, which color is it? I wish we could just click on it from here, but it's all part of one design, so it doesn't let you. Okay, there we go. All right, and then there's one here under this R, so I'm going to click on that one also. And again, I'm just moving them out of the way for right now, okay, so that my winter word is displayed well. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to create a word of enchanted. I want to say enchanted winter. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to turn off this stitch simulator. So this stitch simulator is showing up here. It's from this button here. If we click on that, then that all goes away and gives us other options to work with. All right, because we're not doing the stitch simulator now. So I'm going to click on this letter. It says create letters. Click on that. And you can see this ABC comes. When you buy Embellishment Essentials, it comes with, I don't know, 3 to 7, I don't remember how many, probably about 5 different fonts that are native to Embellishment Essentials, meaning that you get them automatically with your purchase. All right, they're automatically entered into here. So you could use that font. I believe there's even a script font. There's whatever you want. Or you can purchase a font. And I've shown on lots of videos, when you purchase a font, say that you bought a font from Etsy or Designs by Juju or wherever, you would just take the BX files and drag them over. You saw how I dragged over the design. You would do that same thing for your fonts, and then it automatically loads them. And once you have them loaded, look at what happens. You get all your fonts loaded on there, and you can just click through here and decide which font you want to do. And I will say that it is specific to the words that you're going to use. So I'm going to start by, I clicked outside, so nothing's selected. I'm going to click on this text. So I'm in Properties window, the text right here. I'm going to highlight that because right now it says ABC, and I'm going to type Enchanted. I can type really well without using the caps button. Enchanted, then hit return, and you can see it changes the wording. All right, so that you want to have that before you decide on your font, because it will help you decide which font you want to use. So I've gone through a bunch of my fonts and written down ones that I thought were really cute, and I'm going to show you them. Now take notice here, because I get a lot of people that say, which font is that? I'm going to tell you now, and I'm not going to answer all the questions because I'm just going to tell you. So you need to stay focused and write down a little note of, oh, I like that one. I like that one. And I'll show you another way to be able to see them as well. All right, so right now we're in this block font right here. You can see it. When I click on this little arrow on the right, it shows all of my fonts. And I went through a bunch of them, and when you go through them, it will show you how it looks in the letters that you've chosen. Because like a bunch of them I did, and I'm like, oh, I really like that, but I don't like the E. Or that one is just a really wide font, and you don't want it too wide. You can see how much room that we have available. And we can change it. We can adjust some things, but you don't want a super wide font. I didn't personally want a slanted font. A lot of the script fonts are slanted, and I didn't think that that would look cute since the winter is not slanted. And I do want it to be different, but I didn't want a slant. So that was one thing that when I'm looking through my designs, I was like, oh, that's cute, but no, it doesn't look good with these letters that I'm using. All right, so I'm just going to tell you some of the ones that I found that I thought were cute. And like I said, make a note at the ones that I'm telling you about, so that if you want to purchase that design from the designer, you can do that. All right, so the first one is Designs by Juju, Welcome Home. And one thing I want to point out about Designs by Juju, they have a lot of really pretty fonts. I love them for fonts. But when you load them to, like I said, you just grab those BX files that are in your download and hold them over, bring them over to Embellishment Essentials, and it loads them for you. And so it creates the name, it does all of the things. And Designs by Juju, everything's in alphabetical order. But on Designs by Juju, some of them are DBJJ and then the name of the font, and some of them are DBJJ space and then the name of the font. And no big deal, except that if you want to go back to it, you have to figure out where it is, because it won't be in alphabetical order from that space. I hope that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to find Welcome Home. So I'm just going to scroll down here to DBJJ so you can see it should have been right here, all right, after Tatiana. But it doesn't do that because this DBJJ, then there's numbers on this one. So they're not always in alphabetical order based on how the designer has their font name, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm just going to scroll down here until I see DBJJ Welcome Home. Keep going, because I thought this was a pretty one. So I'm just going to tell you some of the ones that I thought were really pretty, and you have to decide the look that you're looking for. All right, so looks like I went too far. There's Welcome Home. So I'm going to click on DBJJ Welcome Home in 1 inch and see how that looks. All right, so that is really pretty. We would have some adjustments to make. Usually on the script fonts, there's some adjustments because you want the letters to connect usually on a script font, and whereas not on a regular font. So there would be some changes to be made to that, but I think that's really cute. That's a really cute one. So I want to show you one other thing that I would suggest. So I'm going to hit Control C on my keyboard to copy this word. So I have just the enchanted word highlighted, selected, and then I clicked Control C to copy on my keyboard. I'm going to click File, New Page, and it's going to open up a new page, and I'm going to say Control V. I don't think it'll do it that way. I have to click on this first. Let's do this. Click outside, click on the word. There we go, Control C. So it does let us click on this because notice it's not part of that Winter Wonderland. When we added our own wording, it went to the end of this. So that's why we're able to click on this. So I'm going to go back to this tab here, and I'm going to say Control V to paste. Control V like victory to paste. All right. And the only purpose of that is then you can have a bunch of the different fonts all where you can see them all and compare. All right. So that's why I'm giving that suggestion. All right, so that's the first one. The next one, that's Welcome Home by Designs by Juju. That's the first one that we're seeing. The next one is called Grace, and I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to scroll down to the word Grace because I thought this was really pretty. Now, one thing, notice DBJJ, that's Designs by Juju. It's easy to know who. This Grace 1 inch, they didn't put in their company name. And so I don't know, but I'll show you how I can find out. But it does take a little organization on your part to know. All right, so Enchanted, this is a really pretty one, but it's also super tight together. But we can adjust all of that. That's super easy to do. So I'm going to say Control C. I'm going to go to Untitled 2, the second page here, and hit Control V like victory. Maybe I have to click. Let's see what. Oh, there it goes. Nope, that's the other one. Sorry. Let me go back to this first page. Click on this design, Control C, and then come here, Control V. There it is. I don't know why it didn't like the first time, but that's okay. All right, so that is a super pretty font. Like I said, it's called Grace, but it doesn't say the brand name. So let me just show you my organization of my designs. You do what works for you, but I'm going to show you what works for me. I'm going to come to Documents, Cristin. I used to have all of my designs in a spreadsheet, and then I lost my hard drive and everything crashed, and it was a problem. So now I have a different way of doing it. I've got all my designs here. I have them done by font, so I'm just going to scroll down. You can see I've got all of these designs here. So I have fonts, cursive designs, fonts, cursive pictures. I'm going to click on that and look at, there's all of these designs. So if I want that Grace design, I can find out who made it so that you know, in case you like that one and you want to go with that one, I can tell you where I got it. All right, and here's Grace font by Stitchtopia, but I can tell you now, Stitchtopia, like Designs by Juju, they have their company name and then the design name. So if it were a Stitchtopia design, it would say Stitchtopia Grace, whereas this one just said Grace. So I know it's not this one. So here's the other. Here's Grace. All right, and this one is by Oh My CS, so Oh My Crafty Supplies, if I recall is the name. So you could go to Oh My Crafty Supplies. I'll click on here, and here it is right here. So if you go to Oh My Crafty, it has the Grace design there, the font. All right, so that's how I tell, oh, which one is this? If I wanted to be able to tell someone else which one that I've chosen, then I can find it because it's not listed on Embrilliance Essentials. All right, so that's the second option. I thought that was super pretty. We'd have to adjust it, of course, because it's so tight together, but that's very doable. All right, I'm going to go back to this first tab, and there's our word. I am going to click on the next one, which is Pumpkin Spice. I thought that was a pretty one, and again, it doesn't have the company name, so I'm going to go, let's see, Pumpkin Spice right there. And isn't that so pretty? I thought that was a really pretty one. Again, I don't have the brand name on it, so let me look at my folder real quick and scroll down to Pumpkin Spice. It takes a lot of time to be able to organize your files this way, but it works for me. to be able to know what I have at a glance. All right, so Pumpkin Spice font by Oh My CS. So that's another one that is Oh My CS that does not have the brand name on it. So if you like that one, the Pumpkin Spice is by Oh My CS. All right, then, oh, I should copy this, Control C, because at this point we're just trying to decide which one that we like the best. So I'm just putting them all together where I can look at a glance and go, oh, I like the E on this one, I don't like it on this. You know, you want to be able to compare. All right, so I'm going back to that first tab, and then it's still highlighted. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the arrow here. And the next one that I liked was Stitchtopia. And they all say Stitchtopia on the front of them. That makes it a lot easier. And let's see, almond cookies. This is a really pretty one. Almond cookies in 1 inch, and that is so pretty. So I'm going to say Control C, go to my second tab, my second page here, and that looks like the exact same. That must not have changed it. Let's see, I must not have hold on a second here. This, click on the word, Control C. Come here, Control V. There we go. It's just, oh, it is different. It's not that different. That's interesting. Those are very similar. The T is a little different. The E is wider, but it's really similar. It's funny that it makes sense of why I was like, oh, I like both of those. All right, now I want to show you another one. This also is by Stitchtopia, and I'm going to go ahead and click on my designs, and this one is garlic bread. It is not a script design, but I like it. So when I make designs, I often will have some script, some not. I like the difference. I like things to be different. I like things colorful. So you decide what works for you. That is a cute design to consider as well. All right, and that is Stitchtopia garlic bread. All right, and then I'm going to show you another one. This actually is one of my, oh, not this one. I like this one. If I recall, this one is hearts, but we don't have none of the letters. It doesn't have like an I to be able to have the hearts, but I think it has hearts. So this one is Stitchtopia Mariah 2. So Mariah 2, I'm going to do the 1 inch. All right, and that's super pretty. The only thing is it's pretty wide, and we would shorten it up a little bit by joining like this N and the T and the E and the D. You can see we would move the letters closer, so it probably would work perfectly fine, but it's pretty wide, so it is a little concerning. That E is awfully pretty though, so that's one to consider. That is Stitchtopia Mariah number 2. All right, and then I'm going to try another one. Let's do a Control C. Make sure I'm clicking it this time. Doesn't seem to, there we go. All right, and Control V. I didn't bring over that one, the non-script design, just because I want one that's script, but personal preference, whatever works for you. All right, so that's Mariah number 2. Now I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to click on this little arrow that shows all of my font options. And this one also is not a script one, but I thought it was really pretty, so I wanted to show you Marigold by Stitchtopia. All right, look at how pretty that is. That's super pretty. Like the E is very script, but the rest is not. And so that's a really cute design. And it looks very enchanted if you think about it. That's a really cute design. So that's something to consider. I'm actually going to click outside, click on the letters, Control C to copy it, bring it over to my second page here, and I'm going to share that one too, just in case. All right, and then I have 2 more. So this one is my personal favorite. I use this one a lot, but it's not the one I chose. So I'm going to click on this arrow here, and I'm going to find Maya. So this is a Stitchtopia design. It's Maya number 1, and isn't that so pretty? And it's pretty compact too. You could widen it and all of that, but it would fit well in this design. So I'm going to click outside, then click on the word, hit Control C, go to the second tab and say Control V to paste, V like victory to paste. All right, and there are several options there. All right, I have one more, and it's actually the one that I chose. So I think I'll take this one and move it over so that we can see this other one. All right, so I'm going to go back to page 1, and I'm going to click on that arrow. I almost clicked delete. Don't do that. All right, and then this one is the one that I'm pretty certain I've decided on. I think it's really pretty. It's also Stitchtopia. Stitchtopia has a lot of design fonts that are script, and so that's why a lot of these ended up being from Stitchtopia. I tried all of them, really. I tried like over 100 different ones, and this is the one that I thought looked really pretty. So 8 Wishes, it's called Stitchtopia 8 Wishes. And this is the 1 inch, which is really quite small. So I'm going to choose a larger one. I'm going to choose the 1.5 inch on this one, and we can adjust it and all of that. So one other thing to keep in mind, so actually I'm going to copy this so that you can see what I'm going to tell you about. Control C, come to that second page, Control V. All right, so there is our 9th option, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 options. All right, plus that one that I didn't bring over, the non-script, what was it? Garlic bread. All right, so these are just some of the ones that I looked through. Now, so keep in mind that with the wording that's already there, this winter, it's a pretty wide font. And a lot of the script fonts that you find, they're pretty narrow. And I don't really, it depends on what you're using it for. In fact, for like a quilt label, maybe a little less because it's less space and all that, but this one I wanted it a little bit thicker, and so that's the other thing to compare when you're looking at these. Like this one, that was really pretty. This one has this is that marigold. It's pretty wide font. This one is as well. They're all super pretty, and this one is a little bit narrow, which I would prefer it a little bit wider, but that one's appealing to me. And there's all of these are super pretty. This Mariah that I use a lot, I use this one a lot. That one would be beautiful too. All of them are super pretty, but I've decided on this 8 weeks. All right, so whichever one you choose, bring it over. All right, again, by just clicking on here, going through the fonts that you like, and now we're gonna make a lot of changes to it. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in. And one thing I like to do when I'm working with a font, I like to take that font, or that word I should say, and I like to put it on a line. All right, so see, Embroidering Essentials has all these lines in the graph to be able to line things up. So I like to start by putting it on a line so that I can have it all be the way that I want it to be. And you can see from this word winter, some are up, some are down. It's not going to matter. It kind of adds to the look. But that's what I always start with, is I start with it on a line so that I can decide how I want it. Now what you're going to do is you're going to connect the letters if you want them connected. You're going to size them out the way that you want. So to do that, I'm going to start with this second letter, the letter N, because the E is great as it is. All right, you can see it comes down below the line. It's great. So I'm going to click on this green dot in the middle here, not a dot, a square, the green square. And then I'm gonna, once I click on that, it gives me more options. So it's an upper arrow and a lower arrow. When I click on this lower arrow, you can see it's gonna move everything, not just that N, but everything after the N. So I like that. It's a little less moving around when you do it that way. So just get it to where you want it to be. All right. And then I'm going to click on the next letter, the C, and I'm going to click on this lower one because it's going to bring everything. If I click on that lower green arrow, then it brings everything with it. And I'm just connecting it. I like my script fonts to connect. All right, so I just make it go underneath. The end of that N is going to go underneath the C. All right, so that everything is connected. Okay. And then the H, click on that, the middle square, and then you'll have the option to have everything else. And I'm just going to bring it over. So you could choose to have this be close. You can choose to have it not be too close, whatever look that you like. All right. And then I'm just going to keep going through these and bring them to where I like them to look for the look that I'm going for. All right. The middle square and then the lower square will bring all of those letters and then the T. Just bringing all of these over. And there's another way to do this as well. This is very specific. When you're doing it this way, you're in control of all of it. If you were to click on, what was it? Let's see. I think if I click on the word itself. Yeah, so if I clicked outside so nothing was selected, then I click on the words. You can slant your word. You can create the spacing for the whole word right here. The word space, all of the things. You can curve it. You can do all of these things. And those are all really fun to work with, but it's not as specific. Like you're not working on each letter. You're really just, and you can afterwards, like you can start with changing the spacing on here and then change how you want from there. I often just do each letter, but whatever works for you. So the C is a little bit not quite close enough, so I'm going to bring all of them over just a tad more. Click outside so nothing's selected. Take a look at it and see how you like it. Make any changes as needed. So you can see that it doesn't really fit right now, but it will, because I'm going to move all of the other parts around to be able to have it the look that I want. So I'm going to click on that word and I'm going to just start by bringing it to where I want. And notice that this E makes it look like it's not really centered. So I'm going to use these black dots in the center and I'm going to center it to the middle of the design right there. Okay, so just move this around how you want it. You can have it bring up this winter now. Forget, I can't click on that, so I got to find the winter. It's number 2, and then I can bring it how I want it from there. So this is the part that you get to just be super creative and design everything exactly how you want it to be. All right, so get a little fun here. Have a little fun, move things around however you want them, whatever look you're going for. And then I like to click on all the parts so you can see that there's overlapping of the little dots, the snowflakes. So now is when you can move everything around however you want it. And there's no right answer here. It's whatever looks good to you, whatever design options that you choose. All right. So I'm just moving them around to what I think looks good, and I'll continue to move them until I decide I'm not going to move those. You absolutely can change the oval part. I'm going to leave it as is for the original part of that. Let's see, I'm just going through to see what's overlapping and what's not. Bring things into how you want it to be. Since we moved the longer word to the top and the shorter word to the bottom, then that's why everything is in different places now. So I'm just moving them around to whatever looks good to me. All right, making it our own. That's so fun to do. Let's see. All right, just move them around to whatever looks fun. And then I think when I first was testing this out, I didn't change. I kept all of these separate colors, which you absolutely can do. It will make for more time to be clicking the button on your machine constantly, telling it to go, or using that opportunity to change the colors. So either way, let's see. It's funny that some are more rounded, some are more oval. All right, I need a little dot here. So where's that yellow one right there? I think I'll take that. All right, so we're just playing around here. Where's that teal one? So just move things around to what looks good to you. Pretty fun, right? I think that's so cute. All right, so that looks good to me. I like it. So one thing is that this design, the biggest point you can see down here on the bottom right hand corner, it says it is 6 1/8 by 4 7/8. That's pretty small for me personally. I would rather it be larger. So I'm going to click on this button up here on the right, and I'm going to click on H for hoop. Then it centers into that hoop. All right, and then I'm going to close this design So one thing, I'm going to make this a little wider so I can see more. And move that over. All right, I'm going to close this design, shrink it down so that I can have everything. So I feel like there was something else. Oh, I know. So I'm going to add one more snowflake. So there's 3 snowflakes on this side and 2 on this side. I'm going to add one more because we've got a little bit more space. I'm going to do that. I remembered that there were 3 parts to my design before when I was testing it. So I'm going to click on that for that snowflake, that pink snowflake. I'm going to say Control C to copy it and Control V like victory to paste it. And it goes right on top of that first one. So now I can grab it and move it to wherever I'd like it to be. All right, that's just an added thing that I'm choosing to do. You certainly don't have to. Where's my other, this one? I'm going to move this. All right, let's see. That looks good. I like it. All right, pretty fun, huh? My goodness. I feel like adding Cristin Creates down here on a loop, that would be fun, but maybe just leave it. Be done. All right, I'm going to shrink down this design. Now I want to make sure to get all 3 parts because I want to make my whole design larger. And if you were to just click on one part of it, then it's only going to change the size of that one part. So what I do is I click down here from the bottom and drag up. That makes sure to get all 3 parts. And then from there, I want to make it larger. If I click the Shift button on my keyboard, then it's going to stay where it is, but I can take any of the 3 corners on the side here, not 3 corners, 4 corners, and I can make it a little bit bigger, watching down here at the size to get the size that I want. And notice that it's keeping the design in the middle. All right. So it's keeping this whole design, whereas if you didn't click that Shift button, it's going to make one side go off to the side and then you got to recenter it all, and that's all fine too. But the other option is to click that Shift button and it holds everything in place while you make it larger. So I made mine a little bit larger. I think I might go a little bit bigger. I'm going to hit that Shift button again, any corner, it doesn't matter. And 7.5, maybe just over 7.5. That's what size I'm making mine. So keep in mind that when you make it like this is an 8x8 hoop. If you were to make your design 8x8, it would make it really hard to pin it. So you always want it to be a little bit smaller than whatever hoop size that you're going to use so that you can pin your sweater to the design and not have to worry about the pins being in the way. See, like this is pretty close to the edge here. So that would be difficult for pinning. So just keep that in mind. I'm moving it over just a tiny bit. So I'm going for 7.5. It's a little bit larger than 7.5. The other way that you can choose it is you can click up here and type in 7.5 right there, and it will auto adjust everything. When you make it larger, like we just did, Embellishment Essentials will add the stitch count. I didn't point that out at the bottom here. It says the stitch count. When you make it larger, Embellishments will automatically add those stitches for you so that it's not making it an off design in some way. All right, so it will do that for you. So this looks great to me, Enchanted Winter, and it's different, it's special. We made it our own, personalizing it. It's super cute. I think that's really fun. So I'm going to save this. Now when I save it, I'm going to hit File, Save, Stitch File As. When you change wording, so like we changed that enchanted word, if you did a stitch and working file, then it will make it so that you can change that enchanted word later if you chose to. All right. I know I'm good with how it is, so I'm just going to do a stitch file. Now it's super important to do save stitch file as. All right, super important, because that original design that you bought from Etsy, you could download it again, but if you do an as, then it's going to give it in addition to the original file. It's not changing your original file. So I'm going to say save stitch file as. It's going to open up a folder or desktop or wherever, and then you just navigate to your folder, or if you wanted to save it on your desktop, you could. All right, mine already went straight to it because I did this before, but I just want to show you. So it'll give you the option. So I know that my original file went to downloads, so I'm going to go to my downloads folder and then click on the Winter Wonderland, that is unzipped folder, and I'm going to go to that large design, and I want to save it in that original folder. All right, and I'm going to just name it whatever I want. I'm going to say Enchanted Winter 2 because this is my second time of doing it, because I tested it all out before playing with you. And now is time to stitch our design. So I got to change out of my sweater. I can't stitch it while I'm wearing it. So I'm going to send this to my machine. If you don't have a machine that is wirelessly, that you can wirelessly send a design, then you would just save it to a USB stick. So I'm going to go ahead and Wi-Fi to brother machine, and it went to my design. So I'm going to change out of my shirt, and I'm going to walk you step by step. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. So like I said, each of these colors, it's going to stop, and you can keep it this way for sure. And have lots of different colored little dots and snowflakes and all of that. Or if you wanted to simplify, you can change these colors, and then it will not stop at every single one. Either way, whatever works for you. In fact, if we look at the original, I'm going to look at the original one. I'm going to say File, New Page, and I'm going to open up that original file that was in my downloads, Winter Wonderland. All right, I'm going to open up the original to see how they had it, because I remember it was only like 3 colors. All right, so they have all of the wording, and let's look through. All of the wording and the 2 big snowflakes are all one color. You could definitely do that, and then do some of the snowflakes in like a lighter blue, some in a lighter gray. You know, whatever's going to work for you. You can choose to either have it all be separate so that you can change it up a lot, or you can change some colors. So I'm going to show you how, just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and make it similar, where it's the wording and the snowflake. So our wording is different. So we've got this separate wording, but we can make it all the same color. So let's see here. So where's our original? This one. All right. So I think I'll keep it this gray. So I'm going to change the color. I'm going to click on this. Now up here, since a lot of us use glide thread, I'm going to go ahead and change this to Filtech Glide. All right, that because I have a lot of these thread colors, and like it really doesn't matter, but it'll make it so that I know what I'm working with. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this to this fog. Say okay. All right, and then the enchanted word, I'm going to change that to that fog as well. And I'll show you another thing that's easy rather than having to find it each time. You can go to, let's see, the color tab, click on that color. Now, right now we're on threads, and it is still on the Filtech Glide, but if I click on palettes, it's going to show the colors that I've already chosen. Oh, and there's a bunch of them because we've been doing this. I thought it would be a whole lot less. Let's see here. Well, we want that fog. There it is. But if you go to palettes, it shows all the colors that are already in your design. So you're not overlapping, or you are overlapping depending on what you're looking for. All right, so that's the enchanted word. Now I want that other big snowflake right there. I'm going to change that to fog. Let's see. The other thing is you can type up in the search bar to find it if you're having trouble finding it. Say okay. All right, those are done. I think it was also this part. Let me just check. Yep. Open this up. All right, so we've got the words and the oval and the snowflakes. Oh, and the 2 of the dots are also that color. All right, so let's change this up here. The top of the oval, go down to fog. And again, this is optional. You can have it be all different colors, or you can have it choose to stop each one, or you can have them be grouped together similar to how it was originally. Either way. All right, and then fog. I don't know. I think I might like the words to be a different color too. I'm not sure. But you decide that now because it just took away the stops. It will take away the stops when you change the colors to be the similar colors. All right, so I think, oh, and then 2 of the dots were also gray. Hug. And that pink one. Okay, and then let's see what else it had. That was it for that. And then the next part is 4 of the dots and the lower left snowflake. So that's already blue, so 4 of the dots. Let's see which ones. 2 on the left, 2 on the right. Okay. So this part, you know, just go through whatever you'd like. This is electric blue. What is that? This one's sky blue. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to be the sky blue. And this one, yep, sky blue. And then 2 of the dots over on the right. Don't forget that we added one of the snowflakes, so that'll be different, but that's fine. Sky blue. And purple. All right, and then what do they have on the third part? All the other dots, looks like there's 4 of them and the 2 snowflakes. So this would probably be white. We have to think about what colors that we want to use, but I might just keep the design from all of the colors, but we're not sure yet. So let's see. I'll choose like a light blue so I can tell the difference. What was that? Nope, I'm going to choose a new color then. I just want a very light blue so that I can see that it's different than that other blue, but different. They'll be grouped together. My goodness, where's blue? Oh, it could be like a minty. That would be pretty. I think I'll do that. I'm going to do this magic mint. All right, magic mint. And then the ones that are up here, this, yep, magic mint. Go to palettes right there. And the yellow and the orange. Magic mint. All right, and then this other, these 2 snowflakes. Click on the color, click on the, so when you click on that, here, let's show you on this other one, on the pink. All right, so I click on the snowflake, I click on the, in the properties window, the color, and then that, the options of colors comes up. I'm on palettes. I'm going to click that magic mint, say okay. All right, so now you would have to reorganize these to be able to get them to group together so that you're not getting all of the stops. What is this one? This looks like it's, that's green. I didn't catch that. So what do they have? It's probably one of the whites. Looks like they have 4 of the white, 4 of the blue, and 3 of the gray. So ours, not that, this. 4 of the blue, 3, 3. All right, I'm going to change it to match up this one. Let's see. That's what I'm going to do. All right, so I'm going to make this a magic mint, this green one. Again, this is your design, your fun, however you want it to be. If you do want these to group, then we have to move things around so that they will join if that's what you decide you want to do. So we can do all of the fogs together. So to do that, you click on a design. So you can see this magic mint is in the middle of the fog. So if I click on this fog, I can right click it and say move earlier, and it's just going to bring it up one. Same with this other fog, move earlier. All right, and I can just make it so that they are together, and I don't actually have to do a color sort, because once they're all the same color, I believe that they'll automatically do that. So another way is to click on the design and bring it up. All right, like this one was at the bottom, so clicking move earlier would get old. So you can click on the design. Clicking on the words doesn't do it. Click on the design, and then on this one I'm just going to click move earlier since there's just one. All right, and then on this mint, I'm going to bring this down to where the other mints are. So we have sky blue, this one down here. Sky blue, mint, mint, mint. And there's a sky blue, so I'm going to bring that up. Right click, move earlier. Okay. Now let's see that. The word is separate, so that is going to do it separately anyway, and that's okay. I think that you can add it in. I'm trying to remember how I did that. I have done that before where you can add it in, but I'm going to leave it. So this is all good. Open this up. Let's see. So then you're just looking at the stitch order of when things are going to stitch. If anything overlaps, then this part is super important, but I don't have any of my parts overlapping, so it's not going to matter really the stitch order. So I've got it where all the colors are together so that I'm not sitting there pressing that green button on my machine over and over, but you absolutely can choose to do that so that you're getting different colors. It will create stops on all of that. So I'm going to save this one also. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use yet, but I'm going to say save stitch file as. It goes into that folder. I'm going to say Enchanted Winter grouped. All right, so that I know that the colors are grouped together. All right, and then I'll send that one to my machine as well so I can decide which one I want to do. Error sending, what happened? Let's see, what did I do? Utility. I've never gotten that error message before. What's happening? File sent, but machine contents appear unchanged. Oh, that's why, because but it's named differently. That's odd. Well, I'll check it. I bet it is there. Either way, we're going to go ahead and get our shirt ready, and I'm going to walk you through that process as well, because we definitely want to make sure to add our fusible stabilizer to the inside of our shirt. So we'll talk all about that. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're almost ready to get stitching. So let's talk about hooping and preparing your sweater. So for your sweater, you want to use that fusible stabilizer. Now, key thing, I do not scrimp on my stabilizer ever. I don't ever scrimp on my stabilizer. So you can, I'll tell you about that too, but I like to be extra careful with especially my fusible stabilizer. So the fusible stabilizer, you are going to iron to the inside of your sweater, all right? Make sure that it's held down really well. Make sure it's the right size. So my design ended up being a little less than 8 inches by about 6 inches. So I cut my stabilizer 2 inches larger. So I did 10 inches, and then I kept the 12-inch length. And the reason I kept the 12-inch length, for one thing, we're going to take it off after we're done anyway, not all of it, but the part that is the extra part. But I like to have it up close near the top of the neck. I like the stabilizer high up so that I don't have to guess on where I'm going to put my design. All right, either way, it's going to work out fine. So I like to keep the 12-inch length because the roll is 12 inches long. So that's what I like to do. So I did 12 by 10 for my design. That's 8 by 6, just to have a little extra, just to make sure. It's a really big bummer when you get your design all done and there's puckering on the side because your stabilizer cut off and your design went further. Let me tell you, that's not fun. All right, so iron that on the inside. You can feel on your stabilizer that it's pretty prickly on one side. That's the side that's going to go on the inside of where underneath the design. So like, your design is on the front of your shirt, so it's on the inside of your front shirt, the prickly part up toward where it's going to stitch, if that makes sense, hopefully. All right, then the other thing I do after I've got that all ironed in there, then I take my sweater and I fold it in half. I go from the edges of the shoulders and I put them together to get it exactly in the middle. Line up your arms, get the middle of your sweater, and then I iron a crease down the center of the sweater. That will help with hooping and alignment. All right, so that's really important. That's a key thing all the way down, because you want it to go all the way to the edges of your hoop. Now on your hoop, you are going to hoop your tearaway stabilizer, and I'm sure you know, but there's these little grooves in the center of your hoop on all 4 center marks. All right, and so that's why I'm saying that little crease down the center is going to help you line it up. All right, because we're going to use those little grooves. Okay, and then hoop your tearaway. I like to cut the edges, not too close, but I like to cut the edges because they can get caught up, especially if your sweater's small, or if your hoop is too large, then it'll give you a little extra room rather than the extra stabilizer, especially around the edges here. It will get in your sweater and kind of move things out of the way. So I do trim it just a little bit, not too much, after it's all hooped and tightened in. All right, so next thing is we are going to hoop our sweater. So we are going to lay out our sweater and put the hoop on the inside. Now, I like to put my hoop where this part is going to be on hanging like this way. So our design, we'll move our design to work it out, but I like it so that when I'm getting my hoop on and off my machine, especially if I'm doing an applique, this one doesn't have applique, so it's not as important, but I will work it so that the bulk of my sweater isn't having to come underneath the hoop constantly, that underneath the needle. That is really hard to get it underneath when you're pulling your design, the hoop on and off your machine, and you've got all that extra bulk of your sweater in the way. It makes it a lot easier if the bulk is in a different location from where it's going to have to go under the needle. I hope that makes sense. So generally I have it, if I'm doing a design, I'll have this part down here at the bottom. I'll put my sweater upside down in here. Or if it's the opposite way, then same thing. I'll turn the design all the way around. And it's not the hoop, it's the design. All right. I'm sure I'm confusing you, but hopefully I can help explain it once I get there. So we're going to put this on the inside of our sweater, and then we're going to line it up. So it's really key. Let's see if I can move this here. Hold on. Okay, so I've got my hoop inside, and I'm going to line up these marks with my my center mark down the crease that I've created. Now on this sweater, this one specifically, part of it is not with the waffle knit and some of it is. I measured it, and this is 3 inches. This is personal preference, I like my shirts, the designs, to start about 1.5 to 2 inches from the top of my neck. And hold on. All right, so this is a matter of preference. You can have your design wherever you want it. But what I find is if it's too low, it's going to bunch up at your tummy, all right? It's going to be, you're not going to see the design because it'll, like when you're sitting, you know how everything just, all your sweater will bunch all up? Your design will be in there if it's too low. So I like my design 1.5 to 2 inches from the top of the neck of the sweater, all right? So I generally measure, once I get to the machine, about 1.5 to 2 inches from there, and I start my design there. So that means that part of my design will be on the waffle knit and part of it will not. You can absolutely choose to have your design start at that 3-inch mark where it starts the waffle knit if you prefer. Whatever works for you. We are going to kind of want to be careful of this crease here where it goes from waffle to knot, but we'll figure it out, not a problem. So again, personal preference, where you want your design. So I'm going to line up my sweater so that I'm pretty close to the top of that point. And then I'm going to start pinning. All right, once you have it where you want it, then you're going to start pinning. You want good pins, not those long, flimsy ones. You want ones that are a little bit stronger, all right? I think I have some in my Amazon storefront, but I'm not absolutely sure. All right, so the way that I do it, and this takes practice. A lot of people get frustrated with this part. And a magnetic, you could use a magnetic hoop. You can use different things to help with this part, but it just takes some practice. So what I do is I hold my hoop up. I start with the crease up there, and then I come down to the bottom part, making sure it's lining up with that little hump that's on your hoop. And then I'm going to get one up at the top and one at the bottom. And you can see I put my fingers on the inside and I guide the needle, or not needle, the pin through. All right, so I'm holding it up, I'm pushing down with one finger, and then my fingers are inside of the sweater, and I'm pushing that needle up, or pin, I keep wanting to call it a needle, up through as well. So it just takes practice. The first few times you'll do it, you'll very likely stick your finger through your stabilizer. It happens, but you will get better at it. All right, so for now, I like to pin all the way, like really careful with my pinning, and it really helps to not get any puckering. Another option is using a basting stitch, but I'm always curious, well, how do they do that? How do they hold it in place long enough to get the basting stitch on? So again, you do what works for you, but it does get easier guiding that pin through. Just pushing it up through and trying not to put your fingers through the stabilizer. That's pretty key, because then it's not going to stabilize, and you'd have to, if you do rip through your stabilizer, you'll have to put another piece of stabilizer under to make sure that it's stabilized. All right, keep doing this. Make sure to get your pins as close to the edge of the hoop as possible so that it's not in the way of our stitching, especially if you made your design larger, that will be closer to the edge of the hoop. Make sure you're not, that your pins will be out of the way. Okay, once you have all of your pins in place, see how well that is going to be held in place? That is good. Now we have to get rid of all this excess material. So I'll tell you, my daughter, she can embroider on those tiny baby little onesies, and she just kind of makes a little hole in the middle and then has all the extra fabric out of the way. And to me, that is just way too stressful. I don't do that. I definitely do not do that. I like to have as much room as possible. So we have this already, but all of this back fabric, back sweater, it has to get out of the way. If you have a nice large sweater, it makes it easier. If it's a tight fit on your hoop, it will be a little bit harder, but you will get the hang of it. So I'll give you some tips in just a second. All right, let's talk about getting all the extra fabric out of the way. So pull up all of the extra fabric from the back of your hoop. Don't have any fabric here. Obviously, it will be pulled into the hoop, so we don't want that. So then we're going to start. Don't worry about the hood or the laces at this point. Those will actually help us a little bit later. So for now, think about all of this fabric going over the edge here. What I like to do is I start from the beginning part and then kind of add it to the backing. So here's the end of our sweater, and rather than just grouping all of this, I start from the beginning rolling, and then it just kind of helps it to be a little bit flatter, if that makes sense. So then I take a good piece of my Scotch tape, the blue tape, 2120 I think it was, and I tape it on, all right, and it's holding all of that bulk out of the way of my hoop, all right, and I start with both of these edges here, and again, I'm folding the top part. This part I add in underneath here. Nothing is under the hoop, and it's just making it a little less bulky. Okay, and if you've got like a satiny shirt or something that doesn't hold on well, you can put a pin through here to help that hold as well if needed. All right, but this one should be fine. Don't worry about the arms. Leave that out. You don't want to have to roll those all up. That would be hard. All right, so just start rolling and pinning, not pinning, taping. There's a dog crossing the street and Lily's out looking, watching the dog out there. She's on her perch. I've got a bed in my craft room just for her to join me. And whenever I say, you want to go in the craft room, she comes running. She loves to be in here. Oops, that's the edge. So like I said, normally I turn my sweaters around. Since this is an applique, it's not an applique, I don't have to worry about it as much. But obviously you can't block the part that needs to be in the, go into the machine, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm just gonna go around it. There we go. We'll worry about this arm, don't worry. All right, and then the other side, just, there we go. Don't pull it so tight that you pull those pins out, but you want it pinned really well. You want it pinned and taped really well. And like I said, if you're super brave, like my daughter, she will just leave the excess material. Whenever I've tried that, my machine eats it every time. Like I've ruined a sweater, so I don't do that. But she has the knack for doing tiny little things for all of her little children and for gifts. All right, so see, all of that is pinned and taped really well. And then we still have the arms and the hoodie. So the hoodie, what I like to do, I take out the strings and I roll up the hoodie. And then I also add in, I use the arms to tie behind and in front of the hoodie part. And it kind of just helps everything to hold in place. But you want to make sure that it's not in front of, like this could get pulled in very easily. So you have to be very careful and also watch it while it's doing it. So I use these. You can use clips. What are they called? Just clips. Whatever works for you. You know, tape, you can tape. All right. So I like to just have this bundle here. And I can just watch that one part because all the rest is, it's going to be hanging over the thing. As long as it doesn't get pulled in, we're all good. Okay, and we're ready to go to the machine. All right, load your design on and notice the stitch count. So anything over about 25,000 stitches, you can put an extra piece of tearaway stabilizer underneath the hoop to help stabilize it. This sweater's pretty thick and it's 19,000 stitches. I think it'll be perfectly fine, so I'm not concerned about it. This is what I was talking about, getting all of this under the needle. I mean, imagine, like I need all of this bulk to get under that needle. That's why I almost always turn my sweaters around. I was not paying attention when I hooped, or I would have done that. But if you turn it around, all of this bulk from the arms and the sweater, hoodie, everything will be down at the bottom and you're not going to have to worry about it at all. As it is now, it's not going to be a problem because I can finagle around through here. But if you were to turn your sweater upside down and then just change the direction of the design, which we're going to have to do anyway, you can see it's facing sideways, then that makes it a lot easier. All right, so for now, let me get this underneath the needle. All right, two more things before we start stitching. So I want to point out that if you want, you can put the wash away topping on on the top of your sweater so that the stitches won't sink in. It is a waffle weave knit, not knit, actually it's just a waffle design, and so it seems like it would sink in, but it's quite thin, so I don't think it will be a problem. I'm gonna not do it and we'll see how it goes. The other thing is your machine, I don't know your machine, but my machine has these little this little box here, and I can press the up part of this design to see where it's going to stitch. And then same thing with all the way to the bottom to see how far low it's going to come, how far left it's going to go to make sure my pins are out of the way, and same with all the way to the right. And I like to do that and then move my design accordingly within the settings to be able to move it as needed. And I did already do that, so mine's all set, but you can easily rotate your design and move it based on where your sweater is in the hoop. All right, and I think we're ready to get started. If I think of anything else, I'll take photos and share, but for the most part, I think it's going to be a pretty easy stitch out. So let's get making something pretty.